And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. DJ Yoakley and Anthony Ronald Hartwig with you. And don't adjust your devices. No, that's not Anthony wearing Georgia Tech or Tennessee or LSU in there as well. I think. Did I
Are
get
you
did I get bumped
are you
here?
asking me?
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
at, just a random question. You got
I
you
got a
got
bunch of
Arkansas.
colleges. I got a bunch of colleges in my closet, just like you have a bunch of jerseys and you have LSU too. So
Oh, don't you put this on me. Don't you put this back on me, Anthony Hartwig. Because I will say this, we have a very special guest joining us right now. An incredible guest joining us, fresh off an incredible run in the College World Series in Omaha. And he hails, well, he used to hail from Canfield, Ohio. Big lefty. He was just little cheese when we knew him. And now he's the real deal, the big cheese. They got cheese heads and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we welcome in Mr. Landon Beidelschies. What's up, buddy?
How you guys doing?
Dude, it has been a hot minute. And for that minute, you have been like a microwave. You have just been just nuclear, everything you touch, blowing up like crazy. What has it been like for you to go from pitching for Canfield High School to pitching for Ohio State to pitching in the College World Series for Arkansas?
Yeah, no, I mean it feels like just yesterday we were throwing no hitters in Toledo and talking with my bleach blonde hair and all that. Um, but man, yeah, it's been a dream. I think if you would have told me 4 years ago where I'd be sitting right now, let alone where I just played my last game at, like I would have said you were crazy. And yeah, it's been a dream come true.
back Wednesday night when you got the ball in your hand, what were some things going through your mind? I mean, that's just such a surreal experience to be able to have that opportunity to pitch at that stage, like you did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really starts the days leading up. Like we'd already played 3 games in the tournament, and I hadn't pitched. Like I closed out game 1 of the regional. Hadn't pitched in the super regional, and then 3 games into the World Series, and I hadn't thrown yet. I was like, man, I wonder if I'm even gonna pitch this week. And I'm just happy to be there, And then in the elevator after we beat UCLA, I get told that I'm getting the ball, and like I guess the gravity of that doesn't quite hit me until I get back to the hotel room and I realize like, man, that's what an opportunity. LSU elimination game. There's going to be 30,000 people in the stadium, millions watching, and I'm just like, wow, this is probably the biggest game I will ever pitch in, and I was just a lot of excitement about that opportunity, not necessarily anxiety that some may have.
And it wasn't an opportunity wasted, pal. 9 Ks, an unbelievable start for you, and it just looked like you were made for that moment. I mean, you always do show up when the lights are shining the brightest, but for you, the mental gymnastics that you have to do to wondering if you're going to get the ball to starting and like you said, game in front of 30,000 people in one of the top teams in the country, obviously what was that like? I mean, as a pitcher, you guys are a little bit off anyway to start, but for you, you had to kind of slow it down and ramp it up in a quick state, and then obviously you go from being the main guy on that island to you walk off that field, and now you've got to be part of the craziest games that I've ever seen in baseball, and you've got to be an excellent teammate. What was that whole process like for you, and how much mentally did you have to do the gymnastics, and how tough did you have to be during that time?
Yeah, I mean, once you get out on the mound, it's more of just competing for your team to have a chance to win. We wanted to keep playing that tournament. Our expectation was to win that tournament, and obviously, I felt like I gave us a chance, and things didn't go our way down the stretch. But for me, like the entire season was a lot of ups and downs. Like I started the year as a weekend starter and faced a lot of adversity, struggled for a month there for a while. I couldn't get out of second inning, and it was just a lot of like, yeah, like you said, mental gymnastics. Like I didn't know if I could handle the SEC, or there was a lot of doubt going through my mind. And I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there that are experiencing the same thing, and have experienced the same thing. But for me, I just stuck with the process, and that game the other night was just, I think a culmination of all the hard work and just sticking to what works for you, and you just trying to make it happen in the biggest spot. And that was a big moment for me.
You talk about that moment. You went 5 innings, 9 strikeouts, which I believe was a career high for you at Arkansas, and just three hits, 2 runs allowed. When you have a outing like that, in what ends up being your last outing for the season, where does that put your mindset now? Wherever you land in the future, where does that put like your mind, knowing that okay, I just kind of proved myself a little bit in the biggest stage?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel like I've proved myself to any doubters out there. But also, more than anything, I think I proved stuff to myself that when the going gets tough and when the biggest spot of the season comes, like I know I can handle it. And I know I can hang with some of the best guys in the country, like LSU. They're probably going to go on and win the national championship. I think they're the favorite. So being able to kind of stifle them for 5 innings was a big confidence booster to me, and I'll always have that going forward for sure.
I guess one of the biggest things, the moment that obviously I was proud of your start. There's no doubt about it, dude. You killed it. You showed out. Everybody from the Youngstown area and certainly from YSN was there cheering. I'm getting text messages. I'm sure your coaches were as well from yesteryear. But dude, I got to tell you, I'm watching that game with my son, who's going through his first year of 8U, and we're trying to teach him the right way to be a teammate, the right way to do all the things that baseball teaches you about life. And even though I was absolutely devastated for you, heartbroken for you, they cut to a clip of you, and you were walking out and you were consoling one of your teammates after that heartbreaking loss. Dude, I got to tell you, that was a great teaching moment for me as a father to educate my son that you can sit there and you can it can hurt, but you got to be there for your team. What was going through your mind? Obviously, you're a huge competitor. We all know that. But to be able to lift a teammate up, to lift your teammates up in that moment, what was it like for you? What was going through your head when that ball finally fell?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that moment was heartbreaking for everyone, and for Chuck out there and left. Like, I can't imagine being in his shoes. Like, that's the greatest part of this game is the family aspect of it. Like, I met that guy 10 months ago, and I would go to war with him. I would trust him with anything, and I'm sure he'd say the same about me. But yeah, like we wouldn't have been in Omaha if it wasn't for him, and I'm sure he was beating the crap out of himself in that moment. And I just, I'm sure everyone felt horrible for him, and that's a play he makes 1,000 times out of 1,000, and it was just hard to see him go through that.
A couple of weeks ago when teams were losing in the state tournament in baseball and softball, me and DJ had the conversation about not letting a loss in that stage kind of take away from the things the teams do in the season. Biggest stage in the world in college baseball. How long do you think it took you and maybe your teammates to kind of take the hurt of that loss and then do those mental gymnastics and still be proud of the season you had, the 3 overall seed in the nation, to get to the semifinals out of losers bracket? How long did it take for that to kind of sink in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that night it kind of turned into less of a cry because it's over and more of a smile because it happened type of thing. Like, obviously, right after the game in the moment, it's a lot of shock, it's a lot of devastation. We thought we were going all the way, and to have it ripped away like that was really hard. And I'm sure a lot of guys still aren't quite over that yet. But after everything kind of settles down a little bit, you get to realize, like, man, like, yeah, that was pretty special. That was an unforgettable run we just went on.
You talk about the emotional roller coaster that you've been on all year, but dude, this roller coaster is about to take a quick turn. We're gonna do a little topsy turvy like at Kennywood because pal, uh, you've got potentially the opportunity to live out your childhood dream and to get drafted. Um, what has this been like? You're working out right now, which shows you the showcase and the hard work and dedication that you have towards this game and towards your craft. But to think about the potential of being drafted and playing in the major league someday is closer than it's ever been before. What has that been like for you? Is it palpable? Can you feel it? Can you taste it? What is it like for you going through this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that has kind of just started to hit me now. I've been so focused on this season and trying to win baseball games that I haven't really thought much about it. Like, it's always in the back of your head, but now that the time has come to get prepared for that, I'm super excited. And you're right. Like, when 5 years ago, it was just a dream, and I was like, yeah, I want to play professional baseball, but like realistically, it's probably not going to happen. Only 1-2% of players get to do that. So, again, for any kids out there that kind of go through the same thought, like, never say never. Have these dreams, but you can work hard enough to make them happen. And I feel like really proud and grateful that I'm so close to making that happen, and really fortunate with everyone that's put me in this position to have this opportunity in a month or so.
In a team like Arkansas, you have a dugout full of players that are, from every walk of life and every part of the country. You get to bring your own kind of lifestyle and things that you learned in your roots in Canfield to that dugout. What do you think you brought from Canfield to Arkansas that you were able to kind of show people this is how we do it in this neck of the woods?
Yeah, I think I brought kind of that blue collar Youngstown type of work ethic to it. I think when it's cold all the time, and as a baseball player, that you really got to grind in the winter, and that's tough for some of these Southern guys, and especially the Hawaiians. Like, they get to play outside all year, and some of these Florida guys and whatever. So I think they just saw a different level of that blue collar work ethic that's just different. I mean, everyone here has worked extremely hard, but I think it's just a different aspect of it.
I think it's different for you, obviously, because you're halfway across the country. I just went, 45 minutes down the road, but I still had to get in fights about who had the best pizza. Have you had to get into arguments about Youngstown pizza? And where did you tell them to go if they ever ended up in Y-Town?
Well, I gotta tell them Avalon, just with the history there. But yeah, the pizza, they don't understand pizza at all down here. I've said that since day one. They don't. That's Papa John's. It's Pizza Hut. It's
Oh, no, no, no.
there's a couple family owned places that aren't bad, but yeah, they don't understand it.
What's the go-to then? Like if you're I mean, you're eating well, right? From a standpoint of packing your body with protein and all the good stuff. But if you're gonna spoil yourself a little bit, what are you eating down over in Arkansas?
I will say the barbecue's pretty
Okay.
pretty legit. We have one of the supporters here is Wright's Barbecue. It's the best I've ever had in the state. He comes to all the games. He was in Omaha, so Wright's Barbecue, pretty
Shout
awesome.
out.
Yeah, lot of fried chicken if that's what you're going for. But yeah, not a lot of good Italian food like up at home.
When you're an Arkansas student, do you have to like swear off pork for? Is that non-sanctimonious to eat like ham when you're a Razorback? Is that kind of weird?
I never really thought about that, but now that you say it, I guess I've never really noticed anybody eating any sort of pork product. So it's mostly just beef.
It's like that commercial, right? That they have the Razorback pulling up and everybody's eating ribs.
So, yeah,
That might
ribs. But other than that, like, yeah, no one's having much bacon or ham.
LB for you. We always talk about if you could go back and talk to yourself at any stage in your life. First off, what stage in your life would you go back if you had to instill confidence in a young Landon Beidelschies? And what would you tell him about the future and that it's all going to be just fine?
Yeah, I would go back to probably my freshman year self. It was just a kid that wanted to play college baseball. Like, whether it was a junior college, whether it was a Division III, whether it was D1, like, just a kid that wanted to keep playing baseball. And I would tell myself, I'd say, it's not as far away as you think. You're not as far away, because when I was that young, I was like, oh man, those college players are so much better than me. Like, I'm never going to get to that level, but I'd say it's closer than you think. Like, the jump isn't as big as you'd expect, and just stick with the process, play your game. Just keep working hard, do whatever you can to get recruited, get on the field. Just keep playing ball in any way you can.
One of the things I always like to ask guys and girls to get into your position is advice for the future. We have a lot of athletes that are going to watch this that we cover that want to get to where you're at right now. What kind of advice and things do you say to the players that were in your that are in your shoes that you were in, 5-6 years ago, about how to get to where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, it's not only working hard to get where you're at, but that work never stops. Like I think the deeper you get into it, the harder you have to work. When I was in high school and there wasn't that many pitchers, I didn't have to work that hard to get on the field. And then I got to college and I was a freshman. I had to prove myself. I had to work extremely hard just to get a couple innings my freshman year. And then you get to an SEC school like this where everybody's as talented or more talented than you. It's a different level of work to where you're competing with some of the best baseball players to ever walk on this planet, and it's just, yeah, the work doesn't stop. That's for sure.
Have your dreams changed at all? I mean, obviously you still have dreams of getting to the big league. We talked about that, but have they shifted? And what did it go from, and what is it right now?
Yeah, I think right now I'm trying to take this pitching thing as far as I can, but moving past that, I really want to have an impact on other college guys, other high school guys. Like I want to be a pitching coach one day. Maybe open up a facility and really try to give the same level of development and work ethic to younger kids that I had, and then that I was so fortunate to get, to kind of give that back. I think would be really cool. But as of right now, still trying to throw the ball.
Down the line, when you're able to have your own facility and coach these kids and work with them, who are going to be some of the guys that you kind of lean on for advice and experience? You've been able to be coached by so many greats. Who are some guys that you think are going to be the ones that kind of you echo in your coaching?
Well, I mean, I think the coaches here, Coach Van Horn is legendary. To even try to be 1% of the coach he is would be amazing. When it comes to like pitching development, we have some of the best people in the world here. So just trying to, pick their brain as much as possible. And then I think like the biggest thing for learning about coaching is learning from other players. Like I think you go to summer ball, you pick up a few little knickknacks here and there. You be around some of the guys here, you learn a lot. So and I also have to say Mike Grady. That's who I went to in high school for pitching, and I've learned a lot from him, and still talk to him today. So just all those people.
LB, I can't tell you how proud of you we are. Obviously you're always just going to be a kid from Youngstown with one of the greatest families we'll ever know. I know that you're a proud family man with everything going on. An uncle as well. I see those awesome pictures of them floating around with the Beidelschies jerseys. Dude, thank you so much for all that you did while you were here. We hope to have you back at some point. Obviously, we wish you nothing but success moving forward. Never forget you. Certainly where you started, throwing those no-nos in Toledo and all over the map here in the OH. But, dude, just congratulations and continued success and keep killing it. And just never forget your roots, man, because you're such a grounded kid. And I think you're going to be a role model to many, 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 more than you already are very shortly. So congratulations, dude. Thanks for taking some time for us today.
Yeah, thank you, man. The support means everything to me, so I really appreciate it. Yeah.
You got it. Ladies and gentlemen, from the University of Arkansas, Landon Beidelschies. Thanks, LB.
Yep, thank you.